Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the PowerTalk Show, powered by Business Talks Weekly. Our guest today is a founder turning intellectual property into a data assessment framework to generate qualified leads for business. She is the founder of Maeve Ferguson Consulting. Maeve, welcome to the PowerTalk Show.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I am really looking forward to this conversation.
Can we talk a bit about your professional background and what really excited or fascinated you to become a sales expert or a coach?
Yeah, so great question. So my background, I was, of all things, an accountant in a past life. I trained in Ernst & Young in London, worked in financial services for many, many years. And then I moved into the private equity industry where I headed up a team of 47 people and a couple of global functions. And then I jumped out of corporate and into my own, what was back then a coaching business. And then over the years have moved more into consulting and done for you services, where we work with really high-end thought leaders, really high-end experts who want to turn their intellectual property into lead generating infrastructure inside their businesses.
That's very interesting. Can you tell us more about how are you turning the IP into a data assessment value that is actually helping them drive more leads?
Yes, absolutely. So if you think about a lot of thought leaders, they have a body of work, they have a methodology, or what some may coin a unique mechanism that they use to either inside of their books or inside of their programs, they bring their clients through it to get from A to B. And essentially what I see with a lot of thought leaders is that their body of work ends up staying either inside of their book, or it stops at the stage when they're doing their keynote, it ends there, or it is trapped inside their offers. But if we're not driving the right leads to buy those offers, that intellectual property, in my view, is wasted. So the whole idea is that we want to take that unique methodology that people have, these high-end experts have, and turn that into a lead generating framework. And there's kind of three different versions of this. So there is what's most commonly known as a quiz funnel, where we do, a 78 question quiz, super easy, super light touch, super fun, bringing leads into the business. That is one version of an assessment. On the other end of the spectrum, have diagnostic assessments that are more like the Enneagrams or the Strength Finders or the DISCs of the world, where they are licensed, etc., etc. And then somewhere between the two, we have what I call score-based diagnostics. And these are the ones where we're able to ask our leads a series of questions and then give them a score as to how they're performing against each of the pillars of our methodology. And the whole idea is then that they're able to see where they're struggling, what their gaps are, and your offers are positioned as the exact solution to the problem that they have just realized that they have by virtue of taking this assessment. So essentially it's a way of eliminating those awful discovery calls off your calendar, where we see experts maybe wake up on a Monday morning and they've got 20 discovery calls in their calendar between no-shows, horrible fit people, and people who are just kind of tire kicking. And yes, the odd conversion in there. There's a lot of time wasted inside of companies speaking to unqualified leads. And the whole idea with this infrastructure is that it does all of the lead qualification for you automatically. And not only does it give the user really great insight into their type or their struggles or their scores, it also allows you to see the classification of that lead. So is this a lead who's going to spend 50K or above? Is this a lead that's going to spend between maybe 20 and 50K? Is this a lead that is going to spend between 10 and 20K? Or is this a lead that is planning on spending $0? Then with our Agentic AI solutions, we're able then to inform the sales teams to let them know we've just had a platinum lead come into the business, and the sales teams are able to focus on the right people instead of trying to have conversations with everybody who aren't actually qualified to work with you.
That's very interesting. And the agentic AI part and the platform that you're building, most of these things are currently handled and managed within the CRM itself. So are you building your own CRM, or are you building a platform that integrates with the current CRM and then gives these insights?
Yeah, so essentially, a lot of CRMs kind of maybe have this, what they call a quiz platform inside, but often these are kind of band-aid solutions that aren't true diagnostics. They aren't actually built as true assessments. And the beauty of using the correct infrastructure here is that, yes, of course, it integrates with your CRM. The whole idea is we're able to pass all of the data through about how people are answering questions, the trends that we notice whenever people who buy our high-ticket stuff versus those who don't. All of it's integrated with your CRM, but the copy that, say for example, if you are type X, you see completely different copy to the person who's type Y, completely different copy and different offers to the person who is type Z. And whenever that's all built into the infrastructure of the diagnostic, that really allows us to put the right message and the right offer in front of the right person at the right time, as opposed to just this kind of blanket lead magnet that you would have inside of a normal CRM. And I always describe the diagnostic assessment as the foundation. So this is the critical foundation to make sure that we have that hyper list segmentation from the get-go. We're not just gathering information about people's name, email address, and maybe a phone number. We're truly getting insight into all of the different aspects of our leads. And over time, that data and that insight is super, super powerful because, for example, one of the Agentic AI solutions that we have built is being able to identify patterns of how people answer certain questions and those who convert versus those who don't. And then basically we have this flywheel effect in place now where as more and more people we put through the assessments, the better a picture we get over who our buyers are and who our buyers aren't. And then we can actually inform the marketing departments with, let's tweak our ad copy. Let's go here. Let's speak about this topic. Let's talk about that topic. Because over time, that data and the insight into your market builds and builds and builds. And the Agentic AI solutions are essentially these flywheel effects, the accelerators off the back of the foundation that is the diagnostic assessment.
That's very interesting. Maybe as you mentioned about changing the ad copies and constantly building the content. What about the channels? Most people say cold calling is dead. Some people say cold emailing is dead. But if you see, there is a multi-channel cadence approach where every channel works and there are different touch points. What do you feel? What is the right mixture to get somebody to respond to your cold email or cold call?
So I would always be of the viewpoint that cold is spray and pray marketing. Instead of that, we're doing attraction-based marketing where we are providing something that is of so much value to our people that they are able to learn something about themselves. They're excited to take their assessment. They are actually they are raising their hand to us as opposed to us trying to force our stuff on them. And whenever you have both organic strategies in play, scalable organic strategies in play, and paid traffic strategies in play, it allows you to have that full ecosystem where all of your leads are actually inbound. They are coming to you as opposed to be kind of being compared to every other spray and pray and now bot on the internet that is doing this outbound cold game. Let's have our people come to us. And that's the beauty of the diagnostic as well, because we have this difference here where there's a real level of intent. And even when somebody, for example, signs up for a PDF lead magnet, at best they're going to have autofilled their name, email address, press submit. Probably going to go to their spam, probably never going to open it, never mind read it, never mind take your call to action. And if you think of the level of intent and how warm a person can get inside of your diagnostic assessment, they might have spent 7 or 8 minutes with you going through your assessment, getting to realize that you do get it, you do understand it, that your methodology makes sense to them. And the buy-in then, whenever they actually get their result, the results are personalized to them, it really feels like, oh my goodness, this person gets it. That's a completely different lead than an outbound bot calling on the internet.
Because maybe as you mentioned about personalizing the email, do you feel in this AI world somehow all emails or all messages sound very similar and it's not personalized anymore?
I think this is the beauty. This is probably one of the most powerful pieces of the diagnostic because the copy So whenever somebody goes through it, they answer a series of questions, then they get to their results page. And not only does that results page say Navin and literally like pull through your name, the copy that you see is completely different to the copy that I see, is completely different copy to what the next person says. And the reason for that is that the copy is based on your personal results, not somebody else's. So it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's spray and pray. It doesn't feel like this is like, oh, carbon copy. And it is not written in a way that you're like, oh, this is AI generated garbage that so many people are peddling. This is crafted like high ticket direct response copy, but it's also personalized.
What challenges do you face building and growing consulting company?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think aside from having two very small children and a horse farm and all of the things that go on in normal life, I think at the moment the biggest issue is that we are, as I mentioned, building a lot of agentic AI solutions. And this world is moving so rapidly. I say to my husband at least twice a week, I just need to lock myself in a bunker for a month, just like hand me in food. Can you handle the children? Because I feel like there's so much we want to do, so many exciting things, but it takes time and we're hiring and we have so many AI solutions already in place in our business, but it feels almost like we're at this race against time and there's just not enough time to build all of these incredible solutions that we want to. So for us, our biggest thing at the moment, we're doing quite a lot of work on this internally in the team, is sitting down and saying like, right, okay, we have a stage in our business called ideation. So here are on all of our clients, like, could you build us an agent for this? Could you build us an agent? Ideation list of all of these amazing potential things we could build. Then we take it from there. We move it into design, we move it into build, we put it into testing, then we move it into deployment and go live. And essentially now we have over 18 of these agents in the go live chapter. So they're already live, they're already rolling out inside of our clients' companies. But on our ideation list, we have hundreds of choices. And essentially then the biggest piece comes down to which ones will we build next? Which ones are the biggest needle movers for our clients who tend to fall between that multi-6-figure and 9-figure range? Which are the needle movers that we are going to put in place? They're truly going to see a shift, either from a revenue generation point of view or from a cost reduction point of view. Which are the needle mover agents that we want to roll out next and next and next? And also bearing in mind that these are still the dial-up internet stages of this world. So in 5 years, we're going to look back at today and laugh at ourselves at what we were all building, what we were all doing, but we also have to get ahead of the curve. So it's almost this race, but also knowing that things are evolving so rapidly that we just have to keep abreast of it all.
Absolutely. So, what has been your biggest lesson so far? If you look down line, if you would have done things differently, what has been your lesson so far?
I think giving myself grace. So I'm quite a type A personality. I'm a winner. So I've always won at everything I've ever done in my life. And probably the hardest thing about entrepreneurship is that there are ups and downs in the game. And it's very easy when things are struggling or things are harder or you're not yet a well-known name, etc. Like I look back at those days and I wish I'd given myself a little bit more grace because it was all part of the journey. Everything I was going through then, everything I struggled with, every sale that I, didn't convert, everything that I did convert, everything was part of the journey and the lesson to allow me to do what I'm doing now. But instead of understanding that at the time, you're in it, you're in the trenches. So I wish I could kind of shout back to myself and give yourself some grace. This is a normal part of the ride. So my vision for the next race, beautiful question, is very much about our top of funnel is all about the diagnostic assessment because that truly is the foundation. So really, really scaling that part of our agency, then we have a beautiful over 80% retention rate of our clients who start with the diagnostic and then they work with us for years to come as we roll out these other solutions. The game is like, how can we be absolutely cutting edge with these agentic AI solutions? How can we make sure for all of these really high-end thought leaders, experts that we work with, that we are bringing the absolute best of what is out there in the market, design it, test it, deploy it, go live, and continually support our clients. So very much a scale model, but scaling with agentic AI as opposed to people, and keeping our beautiful core team of absolute A players that we already have.
It's wonderful, and very all the best to you, Maeve. One final question, and I usually ask this to all my guests. One piece of advice that you received that changed your perspective professionally as well as personally.
Yeah. So my mentor is Ryan Levesque, and this line is always sticks with me: is listen to your market, give them what they want. And that is how people pay you. The people who I see are struggling are the people who are trying to sell things to people that don't want it, or they're selling it to the wrong people. They're selling something that people want, but they're trying to sell it to the wrong people. When we have a solution, when we have something that people want, and we're putting the right message and the right offer in front of the right people at the right time, business explodes. So listen to your market and give them what they want.
Absolutely, listen to your market. Thank you so much, Maeve. It was a delightful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on our channel today.
Thank you so much for having me.